I used to think that being a nice girl was a virtue. And what I didn't realize was I was going to be prey to the predators, to the narcissists, and to the overtakers. And I want to talk to you about 3 traits you may have that leaves you susceptible to these people. And you may have these people in your life right now. So the first is an automatic yes. Have you ever found yourself in life saying yes when you really mean no? When you don't give yourself a chance to check in with yourself, with your mind, with your heart, or with your body, on whether you are really agreeing to something or not. Whether that's to your time, to access of yourself or your body, to plans, to opinions, to questions. You prioritize others' needs or wants above your own. That in and of itself will always attract takers, narcissists, and predators. When they learn and size you up real quickly, whether it's conscious or unconscious, when you say yes, they learn that access to you is easy, that there's not a lot of pushback, that you don't have the boundaries in place. And these people who need others to fulfill the part of themselves that's void will be quickly and easily attracted to someone like you. And I'm going to give you a couple examples of when this happened in my life. When I was in high school, I had a coach who took a liking to me. I was a baseball stat girl for the baseball team in my high school years. And while we would go to games, I had a coach who would sit by me on the bus and made sure that every time I got on that bus, he had space for himself to sit next to me. And even though I felt uncomfortable, I never knew how to say no. I felt like even if I was uncomfortable, I would sit there and allow that to be and play nice and smile. And what I was telling that predator in my life was that it was okay for him to access my space. That grew into an attempt to kiss me my senior year of high school, in which, thankfully, I said no and I pushed away. But the experience of telling him or not telling him that my space wasn't to be accessed or come into, that gave him the automatic yes to do so. Now, that's another level, of course, when it comes to predators and underage. We're talking about a whole nother level of us not understanding when we're children what we should or shouldn't do in respects to adults, right? But it's an example of not growing up with a firm foundation of what boundaries were, how my sense of self and my no's needed to be very clear. We're not taught that in childhood. Then of course you're going to carry this into older years. If you always had to be a yes person to your father or to your mother, you're going to carry that into your relationships or work relationships as you grow older. And you'll find that people will naturally be, of course, attracted to you because you say yes so often. Of course, what does that lead to? Often depletion. What you need to do now is tap in to yourself every time you're faced with a yes or no, and feel into your heart and your body. And just ask yourself, is this right for me? Is this a yes or no for me? And if it's a no in your body, you will feel like an internal pull. It might feel like an ick or a backwards pull. You'll feel uncomfortable, that kind of emotion or that kind of feeling. If you've struggled to find how to find your yeses or nos, spend time feeling into, maybe thinking about something that bothers you and something that brings you joy. And notice in your body the sensations between the two. When you think about that negative thing, how does your body feel? When you think about that joyous thing, how does your body feel? And that will get you clued back into your body in order to be able to handle how to feel into emotions or feel into your physical sensations when addressed with a yes or no. Another example of this, for those of you women in relationships, partnerships, or marriages, how many of you, with a raise of hand on the other side of the screen, how many of you have said yes to intimacy when you really felt no? I can't tell you how often, whether it's clients or friends, I hear, I go along to get along. I do it to keep the peace. What are we doing in those moments when we say yes, but our body is cowering? What happens to our soul? What happens to our heart? Are we chipping away at our sense of self every time we do that when it's not a full yes? Yeah, I think we are. This stacks over time on our sense of worth. And for those of us, and those of you who have been in long-term marriages, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because you've gone through depletion, you're tired, you're exhausted. Why do you think that is? How many times have you said yes when you meant no? This is the answer. This is the question you must ask yourself. The second one, over-empathizing. It feels great when you are in your heart to empathize with another human being. It's a beautiful gesture, and it's one that we need more of on this planet. But when you empathize to the extent that another person subjugates responsibility for an action that they have done, and you now hold that energy that they should feel because of something, again, negative that they may do, you are taking the emotional load and, again, subjugating responsibility from another individual. Now, of course, this can be an extreme, how I'm expressing this, but it's to give you a general idea of the day-to-day on what especially women, us women, carry when we empathize or take on emotions that are not ours to carry. We layer that load on ourselves. That's a weight that we carry. And I can't tell you how often, again, I hear from so many women or no women in my life who end up having physical problems because of the emotional load they carry from friends, family, or their children or their partners. Over-empathizing can also be like excuse making. And I know that sometimes this has happened to many parents out there, where instead of allowing the child to, again, feel their feelings, you might make excuses for those feelings. And that, again, takes away their own process of being able to hold that feeling. And this will create predators to be attracted to you because they love not having to experience the result of their negative actions by holding any negative consequences or feelings. So if you make excuses or over-empathize with someone who should feel what they've done, should take responsibility, should hold it on their own, they will want to be in your space. They will want to put it on you. They will feel attracted as predators to somebody, again, who overgives and is overly nice so that they don't have to do the work themselves. And you doing this not only hurts you, it hurts them. But you will attract that very person. And the third one is conflict avoidance. How often do we stay quiet to keep the peace? I know if you're like me, you've done it. We've all done it. If we have people in our lives who tend to be more conflict forward, who get defensive quickly or easily, we learn, I need to shrink myself. I need to hold my needs back for this person so that I keep the peace. And as long as we continue to do that, we will over and over again attract the predators, the narcissists, and the takers, because they don't have to feel the consequences of their actions when we don't speak up for ourselves. when we avoid the conflict. Because the conflict might also mean you have to confront leaving or staying in a relationship, choosing that friendship or not, or choosing this job or not, based on you speaking up for yourself, based on you being willing to have conflict. Now, conflict, of course, should be done in an emotionally intelligent way, a calm, emotionally regulated way. And that's where the work is. But if you're not used to speaking for yourself, if you're not using your voice because you're afraid of conflict in the first place, there are times predators and narcissists and takers will look and feel subconsciously into what you're avoiding and on purpose trigger you to get a reaction out of you. Has that happened to you? And whether you speak up for yourself or not in the moment, the idea is not to avoid the very discomfort because you're so afraid to feel your feelings, because you learned in childhood that feelings meant chaos, that you had to quiet, compartmentalize, hide, just to get by through the chaos. But your work in this lifetime always is coming back into love and coming back into the heart, putting your needs first, becoming the queen of your own life, standing up righteously for yourself, not out of fear, out of love for self and others. Trust yourself again. And the way you learn to trust yourself is to first speak for yourself, to honor how you feel, and begin to put in place boundaries. Because when you teach others how to treat you, people will respect you, grow with you, or leave your life. And those are all things that are good. That's how growth occurs. But when we stay on the hamster wheel, we will continue to deplete ourselves. This does not end in a win-win. This ends in your depletion. And this ends in the lack of growth, of spiritual and soul growth that you came here to master. You came here to grow through. And my call to you is, do you want to know at the end of this life, you grew, you loved yourself, and you mastered what it was to go from conflict avoidant, from nice girl, people pleaser, overgiver, your needs last, lack of self-love, to fully trusting of self, to freedom, to liberation of your voice, of your heart, to come into full autonomy and sovereignty in your life. You have to start putting these things in place. Because do you want to feel strong again? Do you want to know you can take care of yourself? The only way to get there is through yourself. You can't avoid it. You must face it. But you have to ask yourself, do you really want to feel different? Because the times that you'll change are because you're sick of feeling how you feel. If you want to feel different, you have to do something different. And that is how things change. I am opening a membership in the coming weeks to months, and I want to invite you into Eve's Den. I am creating a container for women like you to help walk you through, hold your hand, and also reflect back to you where you're staying small, where you need to grow, what childhood wounds brought you into becoming the people pleaser that you are. As an intuitive, one of my gifts is to be able to see people's trauma. I psychically can see whatever spirit wants to show me about the work you need to do, but what beliefs have been solidified in your subconscious mind based on the trauma and or childhood dysfunction that you experienced in childhood, or sometimes generational trauma, which is the DNA line things that have happened through your family line that are affecting you, that might not have been something you necessarily experienced in your childhood. This is what I am super passionate about. And I know women need a safe space to be able to talk about what they're going through, to be able to feel like other women get them. I get you. I see you. And I've helped walk many people down this path because I have walked and am walking through mastering right now the final leg of the self-love development. So if this feels good to you, number one, put that in your mind because that is coming. Number two, please like and subscribe. It really helps me. It gets us out to the women who need to hear this. You and me, we need to build this feminine liberation together. It's not about hurting men. This is about reclaiming our life, reclaiming your life. You are worth it, and you're meant to. And this time right now is divinely appointed for feminines to be rising, to come back into alignment, into love of self, into our fullest divine expression. And those are the things that we're healing, working on, and reclaiming on the beauty that is what feminines do, create, and are. And we'll get more into that in the memberships and in my further videos. And I just want to thank you for being here and being a part of this journey with me.